I'm Dr. Uche, a practicing physician who's been coaching others to write and publish their biographies since 2013. The first autobiographies I brought to publication were for my dad and granddad, and those took more than 5 years and lots of mistakes. On this channel, I will show you the tools I use to perfect the process so that you can have your biography done in 6 months or less without the delays and mistakes. Remember to subscribe and share with your friends. Let's dig in.
It might seem daunting writing your story if you have no prior writing experience. I hear you, okay? It's not easy constructing a story, constructing paragraphs, if that's just not your thing. But that shouldn't take away from you getting this done. There's a very easy way to get around it. Stay tuned. Well, what am I talking about? If you've never written and published any book or books, yes, it may seem a bit daunting writing your biography, but it's easier to get around that nonfiction compared to fiction, for example. Fiction is obviously an art, but writing your story doesn't have to be that. It is narrating or recounting lived experiences. So it's easier, in my opinion, to put things down on paper. All you need is a framework. You need to have your story broken into sections, and you need to fill in the sections and then put it all together and you have a biography. Okay? So when I was thinking of the best way to do this, I came up with a system that starts from birth, what you remember people saying around the time of your birth, your early childhood, and then a little bit into, say, teenage years where most of us remember things, and then into early adulthood and moving on and so on and so forth. But you don't have to reinvent the wheel, because that is what I love to focus on. That's my passion, is helping people who have no prior writing experience write and publish their biographies, their life stories in such a manner that they will be proud, their family will be proud, and will benefit. And I like to formally mention this book if you haven't come across it. This is a biography writing manual that I publish. It is available on Amazon. It is called How to Write Your Family Biography. Great questions to use in gathering family history. And I'm gonna make sure we put information about this in this channel here below so you can see. This is a manual that makes it easy for you, okay? It breaks it down. All you have to do, get your copy on Amazon, work through the questions in it. Now, I made it clear in coming up with this manual, I was actually trying to write my mother's life story when I came up with this manual. And I had to get information from other people because my mom is late. We lost her some years ago. And I thought about questions I could ask other people to put the story together. And that's how this manual came to be. Now, you may obviously find that everything doesn't apply to the life of your loved one or yours, and that's fine. What this is meant to do is to juggle your memory, to help you start thinking of aspects you want to answer and include in your biography. So when you work through the questions, answering what applies to you, the goal is at the end you will have your first draft. So let me give you some examples. This is section 1, the early years, okay? Here's some questions I'm just going to read out. What is your full name? How did you come to be named after birth? Do you have other names? Can you remember any events you were told that happened around the time of your birth? Can you remember anything about any events that occurred in your village or hometown? Do you remember anything about events on a larger scale, such as global events? I'll tell you, for example, my dad, who's a baby boomer, of the baby boomer generation, would tell me about when he was growing up in Nigeria and he heard the Americans landed on the moon. Okay, that may have been his early adulthood when he heard that, but that was something on a very big world scale that a lot of people heard about. Even my dad in his hometown in Nigeria heard about it. So that's just something that these global events help to place you in a larger world to show how you are part of a much more complex, bigger system of things happening. And it shows how we're all tied together at the end of the day. Here's another question. What are the full names of your parents, both your mother and father? Do you know anything about your father's origins, such as the full names of his father and mother, and what village, town, state, or country they came from? So this is just a couple of example of questions you can answer pertaining to time of birth. And here I have another section, the toddler years. I don't know if you can see. And in the same token, you go ahead and answer the questions here. Who were your childhood friends? Do you remember a typical day? What was your religion or spiritual tradition, if any? And here we move on to chapter 3, extended family and community, and so on and so forth. But I want to show you towards the end, people who have gotten to this phase in life. For example, raising a family. Do you remember where you were when you learned you were going to be a parent? Did you choose your child's name, or did you have a family member choose the name? So here are some examples. This is how you can use this manual. It is made for you. It is ready to go. All you have to do is answer the questions, and voila, you have a first draft. I hope that was helpful. Let me know in the comments, have you tried writing your story? What sort of problems have you encountered trying to piece things together, trying to not forget things? And do you think a manual like this would be helpful? I'd love to know. I'll see you in my next video.